U.S. stocks are rising in early trading a day after the worst drop since 2008. And what does it all mean for us? Well, Tom Crow with Crow Financial Advisors is here to shed some light on the first ever downgrade of the U.S. credit rating. Welcome back, Tom.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, I'm a little confused, though, because I thought if the lawmakers raised the debt ceiling, then maybe the nation's credit rating would actually remain the same. But now what's happening is Standard & Poor's downgraded the country anyway. So help us make sense of this, because it's just a mess, obviously.
Right. Well, Friday night, S&P made good on their threat. They were looking for Congress and the president to come up with about $4 trillion in cuts. They only came up with about 2.5. Right. So they had said if we didn't do that, they were gonna drop the credit rating, and they did. So they took us from AAA to AA plus. But they're only one of three. The other two still have us at AAA, and they still have us on watch. And I think maybe they're waiting to see what this super congressional committee comes back with and how Congress responds.
I just can't believe. I mean, it's the first time in history.
First time ever.
Really, really scary thing for us. And I want to ask you, what does this mean for the whole country? I mean, what does this cut actually mean to the country itself? To
the country, long term, it's looking like interest on our debt may go up as much as 1/4 point, and that doesn't seem like much, but what it's going to amount to, even 1/4 point on 14 trillion, amounts to about 35 billion in new interest that we didn't have to pay before that we're going to have to come up with.
Oh my goodness. Well, okay, so let's break it down now. What does this actually mean for New Mexico families then?
Well, as interest rates rise, our rates are probably going to go up a little bit too.
Okay.
If you have debt, if you have credit cards, you might see your interest rates bump up.
Oh, great.
You might see mortgage rates come up just a little bit. And I think this is another situation where we're talking about a little bit of uncertainty, and in those situations you want to try and minimize debt.
Right, but that's unfortunately, like I always say to you, it's easier said than done.
Always.
And now with markets crashing, I mean, that's scary for our investments. Why are the markets crashing in the first place?
Uncertainty, again. People don't know what to expect. They're not sure what the long-term effects of any of this is going to have.
Right.
You've got a lot of unrest in Europe as well.
No kidding.
I think there's just a lot of people that are nervous, and they're not really willing to make long-term commitments.
And it's so hard to make any kind of financial decisions when it's all about the unknown. The unknown to me is the scariest part, is how long it's going to be going on and what this is going to mean in the future. And so, speaking to that, what happens for those of us who have investments right now? What would you recommend?
Review your situation. If you work with a professional, don't make decisions on your own. Stay positive, stay optimistic. Don't panic, and don't be motivated by fear, either your own or let somebody convince you to do something out of fear. When you do that, emotion takes over. You quit making rational decisions, and those almost never work out in your favor.
And actually, that's a pretty good tip in life. Forget just finances, in life in general. If you make fear-based decisions, it kind of always messes things up just a little bit based on those emotions. But you know, speaking of emotions, we're all fragile. The economy is very fragile right now. So should New Mexicans simply just ride out the latest crisis? I mean, you said get financial help from a professional, but do we just kind of sit and wait? Is it a hurry up and wait thing, or?
No, not necessarily. I mean, I think it depends on the individual and what your ability to deal with risk is and uncertainty. I think you definitely want to keep in mind how far in the future you're going to need this money. Given the last 10 to 12 years in the market, if you're going to need your money in the next 5 years, you really probably should not be in the market. You might want to look for some short-term bonds or CDs. Just be very careful when it comes to making any new decisions or changes. Like I said, get some help if you need it. There's plenty of individuals. You can call somebody like me. There's a lot of sources online. If you're worrying about the debt issue, you can find lots of places that'll help you budget. So you're not just trying to make this up as you go. There are templates and stuff you can use to get yourself on track and on schedule.
That's good advice.
If people are offering guaranteed returns, just be real careful about any kind of penalty phase that comes in. If somebody's going to guarantee a return, that probably means they're going to want to hang on to your money for a certain amount of time.
Good
and before you buy anything, make sure you know what it's going to cost you to get out and how quickly you can get out if you have to.
Look for those catches, because I think sometimes if something looks like it's too good to be true, in any time in our economy, it's something we have to question, but especially now we have to really look at where are they getting the money on the back end if they're giving us these special offers. And that's why I want to go back really quick to what you said about credit cards. I mean, are you really anticipating that you're going to see these interest rates rising in personal credit cards right now?
They very well might. And if you're to the point where a 1 or 2% increase in a credit card bill is going to make the difference between whether you can pay your bills or not, you probably need to get some of that debt under control. And again, in this situation, especially when economic times are a little uncertain, if you are in debt, you're not in control. the other guys are. You know, they own you. We talked about your stuff owning you. It's really the people who gave you your stuff that own you if you owe money on it. Well,
as you said, it's really important to talk to somebody who's a professional and who really can help guide you through this. It's great advice. So let's tell all our viewers how they can personally contact you.
You contact me at Crow Financial Advisors, my Albuquerque office, 243-2281. You can get to me through the website, crowfa.com. And some of those free materials on financial literacy, especially based for high school and college age kids, at focusonthefuture.tv. There's free videos there to be downloaded.
Fabulous, and we'll talk more about that, as I said, you know, in depth at another time, because we want to get the kids on a roll at an early age and get
Let's
them in
make
the right
economic
mindset.
sense common sense.
I like it. Make economic sense common sense. That's the line. I like it. Thank you, Tom, so much for being with us.
You're very welcome.
Always shedding great light on a difficult crisis that we're dealing with. And keeping your child safe in the car isn't just smart, but it's the law. Coming up next, I'll show you how to buckle your most precious cargo incorrectly.